volatile and what will end up being a very important week. Whether it ends up volatilely bouncing into an alt season or getting a very harsh rejection in the next 5 to 7 days, we're going to get a lot of information here in the micro that is going to build a more of a stern picture for the macro, which we know the macro outlook. We just don't know how we get there. We don't know how long it takes. This week is going to tell us a lot if we're going to take the short route or if we're going to take the extended route here. As right now, Ethereum is over 3,558, which is a great sign here at this point, but still sits under very desirable levels as of right now that we need to get past. It's good that we're back up above 3,558. There is zero question about that. But now we need to break past this resistance. Our first big test is going to be to try to break past what looks like a double top here, an M-topping reversal, and invalidate it. Get over about, what is it, about 3,000. I mean, once you break past here, we do have a target of 4,100 if we can get past this resistance in the short term. And right now, that's a nice daily candle right now. We don't have a lot of volume, but there's still 8 hours and 55 minutes. And I want to see how we react right now because Bitcoin is in a similar positioning here. It's going to tell us a lot about our positioning here. Is Bitcoin going to get rejected in what could be a rising wedge and form like a right shoulder here? Or does Bitcoin come up, invalidate this structure, and I suppose use that more of a rising triangle? It's so difficult to say because of the way it's set up. It needs to give us a confluent move above or below for this pattern setup, because the way it's set up, you could look at it either way. You could say it's kind of in the rising fashion, but you could also say it's kind of like a wedge rising. It's so hard because it does look like it could be a rising triangle as well, just because of how the volatility of how it did that. So we've got a couple different decisions here to make as far, well, we don't. The market has a couple different decisions. Like, first decision is, does it come over this 115,000? And I like to say 500 because that gives it enough space. But if we just want to put it in the resistance at 115,403, can we get above here and then ultimately start running back up to this pattern that was above? And that's like 118. $117.1, but we'd have to get over the top at one. But those are levels. So can we get up and retake some of these levels? So the first sign that this isn't a fake out and maybe we're starting to push into a better territory is to get over the 115,403 for Bitcoin. That same level for Bitcoin is the $3.06 for XRP. We need to get over that to start breaking into a more bullish scenario. And where the hell's the chart that I want to show? I got so many charts. Here we go. We want to get over this resistance area. It's a little off. For some reason on my phone, it always does that, and it irritates me when I come back to here. Because it's harder to see on the phone, so it's slightly off when you go from this to the phone. But I know that resistance area is at $3.06. That is very crucial for me. It does get rather annoying, though, because then I come back on here and I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't even... I'm just going to keep it like this. I'll just keep it like this. Well, we'll just have the micro then. I wanted it a little bit farther out, though. Because if you come back here on the top, because that 306 is so important. I'm not saying I was building the narrative to 306, but it's an important resistance area. And I would hate to not shadow how important that is. You can keep it there, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I can say 306. It is coming down now, so, you know, technically I could say that. So, but still, I like that 306. Get on top of 306 and you start pushing back into that more bullish territory. I know all these charts are different, so this could say 305. But as we continue to come down, the target does become a little lower too, because it's a downtrending resistance, a downtrending support. And I don't know, I kind of like that because it encapsulates the resistance here coming through, how it couldn't break out, coming back down, back to resistance, hit resistance, back through, bounce back up and in. We've got that uptrending support underneath that's going to follow us the whole way. So now it's like 273 probably, in just the terms of if it does take, it'll probably be Wednesday, unless we get a real quick rejection here. And that's why we're kind of in no man's land here. Like, we're looking for either confirmation or a formidable breakdown. And it's interesting where we're consolidating, because this is where we don't know. We just don't know. So it'll be very, 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 very interesting to watch this play out this week. We're going to get so much information. If you don't pay attention to crypto this week, you are going to miss a lot of signals. Some people are in the market. Some people are on the sideline. Some have been sitting in for some time. Some are going to sit in until the sun goes down, until the, every last thing, if it did cave in, goes to zero, because they're waiting for the eventual move that should come. And some are just waiting and targeting, and some, it hasn't even hit the levels that they're going to buy in. They're waiting for confirmation. Some bought that drop, and some have just been accumulating for the last several years. So, I mean, it doesn't exactly matter where you fit the portfolio, but you still want to understand the technicals in the same way. There's no doubt about that. So we're waiting for that. If XRP can get over 306, that would be the first signal on the bullishness to start pushing up towards that $3.28. And to me, in the micro, if you get above 328, you are super bullish. So you're kind of like in that in-between from 306 to 328, but you got to get over 306 to start flipping that bullish switch. Just like Bitcoin, we're almost there, 115.5, and I think you start flipping that bullish switch to 117 and then 118. Do we get above that? Nobody knows, but you got to get above these areas to start flipping the switch a little bit for it to be more bullish to start the week, which it's starting to. Ethereum's over 3,558, so I'm not surprised once it overtook that and held that at a quick surge. That's been the area of contention. If it's below it, it's bearish. If it's above it, it's pretty bullish. Now, do we carry out the whole way? That's what we don't know. It's still the uncertainty. But this is definitely a decent start to the week here. Especially from the micro, because the macro has always looked fine. On the monthly, it looks fine. On the weekly, at least with the way it's pushing in the monthly, it looks fine. The weekly's not bad. It could engulf to the top. We know we're just on the top side of this. We could technically start a early alt season. That's what gets spicy here. So I say this whole week here is going to tell us everything we need to know for the most part about alt season. Yeah, there's micro support at 303. I understand that. I'm saying overall. There's micro support at $3 if it fell through 303 as well. I'm just saying overall in this area, all those levels don't matter. 306 is the area that matters. Yes, it'll be nice to hold 303, which we are back testing, but it doesn't. To me, that micro level is insignificant compared to the 306 level. For me, 303 is inside of that pattern. So whether it holds it or not, it's just either stopping you from coming to a micro drop to 289 or $3. But it could be that next level of hold. So it's not insignificant. It's just I feel like it's not as significant as the pattern at 306. Even though the pattern's down to 305 and some change, I still like that 306 swing point or pivot point to push us back into a bullish bias. And right now we're doing, to start the week, if you want this to be railing and pushing up after a significant drop, there's significant opportunities here. There still is, big time. Because when you're looking at these patterns, like look at IOTA, if this is the start of the reversal, I mean, you're getting a significant opportunity from when it first attempted to try to break out in mid to late July. It's down 25, well, no more than that. No, about 26% right now. So, like, IOTA's under 20 cents. So if it's about to roll over and then pull back up here and pull this big W out its ass, which it could, because there's a big inverse pattern there. There's a daily golden cross that so far was short-term invalidated, but this happens a lot. They overzealously drop off, and then if they are meant to move, they get all the long traders out that are in leverage, liquidate them down. After a quick move up to liquidate the shorts, still has the pattern set up left shoulder, head, right shoulder, even in a micro perspective. And then if it pulled down in this W and pulled up, then we'd look and be like, oh my God. It was there the whole time. We just, we got a little scared in the short term, but there's no reason to be scared. You have a low, higher low, higher low. If this holds, that's bullish. It's converging. You have higher lows, lower highs, high. Actually, yeah, lower high, lower high. So they're converging. These are good convergences. As long as we don't make a lower high before we make, or as long as we don't make a lower low before we make a higher high, we're fine. So basically what you're looking for here is you're looking to make a higher high here before you make a lower low. So a higher high here equals bullish. A lower low here equals bearish. That's what you're looking for in the higher time frames. Does that make sense, everybody? With IOTA? So anybody telling you it's bearish is out of their gall. Out of their gall in the long term. Micro, it could be flipping back into a nice bullish sentiment. We don't know yet. But macro, it is not bearish. Macro says this should be accumulation even if it goes down, down, down. But does that make sense? Yep, higher, high, and hold. Exactly. So, and in my title today, I said XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum surge back above resistance, and then XRP has already come back down below that resistance at 306, in my opinion. I like that resistance. That's the one I was referring to. What, how, I don't even know why it said what, but what, how to confirm alt season and avoid a fake out. That's what we're discussing this morning. So, how to avoid the fake out is exactly how we started out this morning. Ethereum stays above 3,558, ultimately pushes above and makes a new high to rally towards 4,100. So you pray for a push to 4,000 here on Ethereum. You pray for a push. We look for some outliers. And what's weird to me, I don't know if this is we're starting the week hot and then we're just going to dump like crazy on, I don't know what's going on with the stock market. But the NASDAQ shot out like 550 points up. I'm not kidding. The NASDAQ was up 550 points roughly, or almost, it was somewhere around 550. And now all of a sudden, since I've been doing this live, it went from up 550 to up about 308, which is still significant. But I want to see if this is a big rally that starts, or if something big's going on, because this is weird. It's so volatile in all sectors. S&P right now is up 76, which is a good sign for crypto, especially as well. Dow's up 514, but it looks like unless it gets a nice push up, it's building a rising channel in the daily, just from what I can see on Bloomberg. So it's either we're going to get a volatile shift up, or the stock market's about to lose all those gains in a matter of hours. I would like to think, because of how crypto's going and keep it positive, I'd like to think it's just going to go up. But that's a big thing to watch as well. Because if the Dow continues, it'll double this. It'll go up 2.5% today and be up 1,000 points. The NASDAQ, if it holds this little loop, it'll be up 3% before you know it and be pushing 21,300 area. And the S&P is going to be pushing about 6,400 or up 2.4% if this pans out. That's huge for crypto if that plays out. On the other hand, if that's a rising channel for the Dow, in the next about 2 hours, you're going to see it go from 528 points to about 160 or 200, and you're going to say, uh-oh. And you're going to see the S&P go from 75 up right now to about 25 to 15. And then you'd see the NASDAQ, which was up like 500 points, which it's still at about 323. You would see it cut all the way down to like 115, and you're going to be like, holy shit. And then you would see the same chop with Ethereum and Bitcoin. You'd see Ethereum back down to 3,558 before we could blink. And we would end up seeing Bitcoin back down to about 114 before we could blink. So I want to see if we play the down or up route. It is so intriguing right now watching all of the markets. It's cool to have Bloomberg out in the background. I love being able to have my tablet in front of me as well. To be able to, or my touch screen in front of me. That's, what the hell size is this? 32 or 42, I don't remember. I think, what the hell size is this thing? 38? Maybe it's 38. 38 inches. But good morning. 11:18 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, August 4th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. And I reside in the great state of Michigan. Julia, tee up yet? I got him to shake his head. Oh, am I being too loud? Well, we're trying to get him up, right? Guess it doesn't matter. But let me get to some comments real quick. I think we did a great job in the first 15 minutes. I encourage you, if you want to take a deeper look at what we do here, all my content's free on YouTube, and everything I put, there's no paywalls. I've been doing this since March 24th of 2021. I haven't missed a single day on YouTube. Make sure to hit that subscribe button as we went over 45,200 subscribers. If you want to pay it forward, you can join Tom's Army for $9.99 a month. I believe currently we're at a high in the last 2 years with members of Tom's Army. We're at about 252 members. Now, I think at one point we got to 265 was the most we ever had. But if you join Tom's Army, you can get in the Telegram and you can get it from here on the homepage. I didn't have it like this for the first almost 400 members, but we got a lot of spamming and things like that, and people trying to steal other people's crypto in my name. So we had to put some protocols. But you click on the Telegram if you are part of Tom's Army, and there's a lot of different things that you can see, a lot of different things you can do. And there's just, you know, it's got a lot of stuff. The content links, the technical lounge with Nick, which he's a very trusted mod in here, and in the Telegram. But it's a whole community now with 447 members. You know, we've very quickly been able to get the spammers out now because we have a red flag zone, the security center. I have my own personal spot here with the pagers section. And I'm able to do my charts the way I want and be able to tell everybody what I want. So that's just something, and it just, I put the little notes and what we need to know in here. So if you don't have time to look at the technicals, I still encourage you to watch the lives, but I still put down, and I've started to get into a routine every morning, setting out the short-term resistance, short-term support on XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. So you can see it in a way where it's not just XRP. We can see what Bitcoin's doing, whether or not it's going to hit alt season or back, allowing us to get into an alt season, and we're going to finally dump out with the Bitcoin dominance. And then I also like to put in Ethereum so we can kind of gatekeep what's going to happen with alt season. So I try to keep it very transparent. There's a lot of people in there, a lot of good minds, and it's a very tight-knit community, and it's something different. We're trying to create abundance for all, not abundance for I. So if your framework is, I'm trying to create something for myself, you got to think amongst a community. We're trying to do this from community. And then one day this community is going to meet up on one of the Great Lakes. And if everything pans out right, I'm going to buy a house on the Great Lakes that stays open with the code of conduct, almost like Fight Club, where if you go in, everybody's welcome at any time. But the moment somebody ruins the agenda, well, there has to be rules and regulations. So if you go in there with the mindset that you're going to keep everything with abundance and you're going to leave it better than you got it. Like when I go to an Airbnb, all the stuff I buy, I keep there so the next person who comes in can use it. You know, I'm not going to take some of the stuff away. So that's the abundance part. I'll buy better toilet paper for the next people, because if it's a shitty roll of toilet paper, I'll make sure they have good toilet paper the next time. But it's just the simple acts. But that's something I want to do so we can all meet up on the Great Lakes. But it's going to take a certain level of commitment here. We're not there yet. We're closer than we were in 21 when I used to talk about this. We'll get there. We're putting it out there. We're creating our own destiny. But that's the power of community. Right now, the power of our community is up to 445 truthful people. There's more than that aren't in the Telegram. But at least from what we can able to talk to each other, it's amazing. You know, 1%. You get 1% of what you see in the real. You know, it's just pretty cool. Anyhow, let me talk to some of you. It's already been 18 minutes. Also, make sure to go to XRPFutureMillionaire.com, the website I created. It'll be fully innovated soon. I mean, it is for what I need it to be right now, but for me to do lives and all this other shit, it's all free. I'm not charging anybody for anything. It's all, I was able to do it based on the support that you guys give me on YouTube. And it cost me like $6,000 for 5 years. So I did dedicated servers, live API, so you get up to the minute, up to the second chart updates. It starts with the chart of XRP. Here, let me just show you. But XRP market cap. And then you can put any chart you want of any market and any currency in any part of the world. It doesn't matter. It shows all of my interests, all of the tokens I like, the exchanges, the reasons why, yada, yada, yada. XRP market cap, as we can see here, 180 billion, up 5.25%. Swinging up here in the seasonals, but we're way above where the seasonal. We're in the buy zone, but we're above, trend in a big way. Last week down 6%. Last month up 37, up 3 months, 44, up 1 year, 479%. But this is a live up to the second. It updates every second of the day, and I automatically have the volume on here because I think it's the most important part. But we're talking about, right, the gatekeeper of alt season, Ethereum. But we're talking about Bitcoin because we want to know the Bitcoin dominance, right? Let's go to the Bitcoin dominance chart. You can look at Bitcoin dominance on here. Just click on the Bitcoin dominance. Oh, what the hell is this? This isn't what I want. I want the percentages. I forgot this has every single different chart. I want the percentage. See, there's different ways to look at it, but we got to look at it from a percentage standpoint. Because that's what that's what we're used to. Let's see. Bitcoin dominance. I was curious. I haven't looked at it on here. I always forget. Percentage. Okay, so right now we can see it's starting to fill with a little bit of red, finally. And we know we're in a bearish pennant. So we have uptrending support, so higher lows and lower highs within the drop of a flag. That's a bearish pennant. I have it on my other chart, but for purposes of looking at it on here right now, it's not going to have it filled in, which is kind of nice. So go to I like to look at the MACD, which I really do. And even on the Bitcoin dominance, we can look at it. And we can see the flow right now is starting to shift from a very green positive flow in Bitcoin dominance. And it's starting to shift white. Not just that, the moving average convergence, divergence. We're about to flip through that trend line, which is that red support. That would be a big signal. A big signal. Now, I encourage you to do the RSI on your own, but for today's purposes, go to the stochastic RSI. And that gives you a real deep signal. In the monthly, we broke bearish, and now it looks like it's railing right back down. We broke right through the neutral section. So we were overbought. Now we went back to right through neutral, but it could be a double bottom forming. So that's the only thing we don't know yet with the dominance. But as of right now, it's flipping bearish. Stochastic is flip bearish. The moving average convergence divergence is way overbought right now. It looks to be flipping bearish probably right now. And the last time we did this, if it does flip red from a significant area of just green and neutral green, the last time it did this, Bitcoin dominance went from like 70 to 40%. So it would be a significant drop if this happened. So these are just tricks of the trade that you can look at with indicators to try to help verify it. But I'm telling you, you're going to get a deeper level of knowledge by being on my website, even over TradingView. I'm using TradingView, but I've integrated it through a live API. Some of them you have to pay for. But like I said, I didn't spare any expense. And I'm going to keep doing this every 5 years. I'm going to keep renewing it. And whoever uses it, uses it. But I found myself on my phone using this because the screen's bigger. I get more info on my phone even and my tablet than I do on my actual TradingView. Like I can go in here, for example, I can go in here and go back 12 months or the 1,000 range, or go anywhere from 12 months out to micro 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 30. You notice the 1, 2, 3? If I go to TradingView and I show you the same chart, I have limitations. There's limitations because you're actually doing the other one like on a web browser. This is through an app. So there are limitations. So Bitcoin dominance, if you want to look at the levels, we have the bearish pennant set up, which will show. We also have that rising channel that it looks like it's about to break out. But if I start looking at numbers, right, I can look at it in the daily, 4 hour, 3 hour, 1 hour. But wait a minute. When I get down, I can do the 5 minute, 3 minute, 1 minute. There's no 2 minute. I also can't go past the daily, weekly, monthly. There's no 2, 3, 4, 6, 12 month. So you get a better level of looking at this. Like I have to stop at the monthly. You also get the 3 month, 6 month, 12 month here. You get the micro levels as well. Like you go from the 30 minute to the hourly. There's no 45 minute, I don't believe, on here. Oh, maybe there is. Okay. I get confused sometimes because I go back and forth. There's no 2-minute. Why don't we have a 2-minute then? And why doesn't it let us break past the monthly? I always wondered that. It's weird. I guess there's only so much information on the app, but we are in this bearish pennant. So if Bitcoin finally drops from here, it would be a significant drop. Right now, basically when you're looking at Bitcoin dominance, if you're new to crypto, and just think of it this way. For every $100 that comes into crypto, $61.68 automatically goes to Bitcoin based on the dominance numbers. $38.32 goes to every other crypto, including Ethereum, not Bitcoin. That's a big, big amount going to Bitcoin. Think about it. That's like when the charities come on the commercials, or they tell you to donate to these charities for kids. $61.68, if you're lucky, is only going to the person who's running the charity who's scamming all of us. You're lucky if 32 cents on the dollar goes to the charity. And all of my stuff, 95% goes to the scumbags who are running it, and 5% goes to those lovely kids you see on the TV. But that's the same thing right now. They want you to believe that all the money goes into all of the cryptos, but right now, only 38.33% of all crypto, or all the money goes into the actual crypto. So basically, 61.67% of all money that goes into crypto goes to the government because they own a Bitcoin. There's no Satoshi. Satoshi Nakamoto, here's the deep dark secret, is the United States government. That's why they built the world's largest Ponzi scheme, and are trying to get all these stupid countries and all these stupid corporations and all these stupid businesses to invest in it and put common stock out to do it. That's why they're doing it. Oh, I got to not talk so much about the truth, but that's the truth. What do you think's going to happen? They're going to whitewash everybody. Bitcoin's a tragedy. It's the biggest Ponzi scheme in the world's history. It's so obvious. Hey, leverage common stock for billions of dollars to keep pushing the price up for Bitcoin. Once you start doing that, that's no different than when you're trying to mortgage a future you can't afford, and you start taking out personal loans, you reverse mortgage your house, you start taking out HELOCs and all this other crap against your own equity, to the point to where your house is paid off, you take out a HELOC, and all of a sudden you got all this money, but you're paying off a new mortgage. So now you're back to... So I think that's what's going on here. Lonzo, is the Telegram free? It used to be. It used to be, but we had too many people imitating my name and people actually believing that I would ask for their crypto. So we had to put measures in place. So I tell people, you can join Tom's Army for a month and you can cancel it once you get the link. That's up to you, which I encourage you to show support. Because if you're going to go do all of this, if you're trying to create abundance, so you're going to leave me out of it, like I do all this work, you can't support me a little bit, the micro amount, but that's okay. So I tell people, if you want to cancel it, you can. So that's up to you. That would be a personal choice by you, Lonzo. But there is an exception to the rules. I've let people in, some great people, as a matter of fact, that, they're not in Tom's Army, but they met what I wanted. They might not be in the financial, they might not be in the right space to be able to deal with it. But, let's see. But a great example of people that need to be in there that ended up in there, just an exception of Christopher Lotz. He's in the Telegram. He's been watching the show for a long time, and we finally got to cross the right path, and he's ended up where he needed to be in the Telegram. We don't know what somebody's going through, but some people are going through a lot of shit. Some people aren't. That's not the only exception of the rule, but, he found the place he needed to be, and I'm glad that Christopher's in there. It made me feel good to know some of the story and just understand that he's been around for a while. And there's just exceptions to the rules, man. I have to feel it in my heart, and the Lord has to point me in your direction, because I know a scammer when I see him. And I know someone who's trying to play off of pure emotion to try to get what they want, as scumbaggish ways. I can tell the difference. I've been doing this for way too long in my own personal life. I've went down that path way too many times and know the truth. That's one of my gifts. I can feel somebody else's aura. I can feel their spirit. That's why sometimes I go from being the happiest person in the world to the most irritated, because I can feel the general pulse around me.
Do you hear the beautiful music?
I do hear it. I love when I hear his piano. Crypto Cooter, good morning and welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor along with Crazy Poll. John Bugathorpe, good morning, and thanks for continuing in Tom's Army. I really appreciate it, even though it's not showing it today. I know you are. Dennis Smith, Jesse, and Jess Sunda, thank you all three of you for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Those first month badges are so important for me to keep my business model free. And it always will be, but it makes it so much easier. Mark Caston, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Defined Group, good morning, and thanks for being not only in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor, but a very trusted mod in here and a very innovative one in the Telegram. I really appreciate that. As always, in the friendship we've been able to develop here over the past and hopefully into the future. Let's see. I did that one. UK Phil, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Still got to get our Fortnite game back on. We've had some fun there at times. Matt Grimes, good morning, and thanks for tuning in. Poppy Lou and Big Dog, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Syrian, thanks for being a very trusted mod, very positive vibe in here and in the Telegram, and also a mod in the Telegram. And being in Tom's Army for over... I can't believe you've been in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Now, that's unbelievable. Time goes too fast. Brian Crow and Matt Grimes, good morning. The Cannabis Podcast, welcome in. Thank you for putting out the content you do and also being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. If you're into the herbalistic side, make sure you take a look at his channel on YouTube. It's very, very informative. The Gatman, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Predictor. I mean, yeah, the XRP Predictor. Oh, no, the XRP Diamond Hands badge. What am I talking about? I was going to say 3 years is not the Predictor. The XRP Diamond Hands badge. That's incredible. Thank you, the Gatman, for watching me since the beginning. Rudy Poo, welcome in. XRP is back, baby. It's back in a sense. Still got to get over some micro levels, but it's better to be over $3 than not. Can we agree on that? Kawabunga, welcome in. Mosey here, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Rudy Poo, yes, XDC is doing very well right now. It's got to come up to... It's right up to that level in the micro. We talked about this yesterday, that it was an opportunity because it was behind some of the other ones. It's got to come up here and retake this 9.7... We'll call it 9.76. Yeah, 9.76, and then ultimately get back over. So this doesn't end up being a breakdown. And then if it is, see, this is... You look at it from both directions. If we break down, you're looking at possibly around like 7.5. If you break out and get above this, oh, we'd be cooking. But I like to not be emotional. I like to look at it right now as this is back testing a bearish rejection until it proves otherwise. You know, and then if it gets over, then all of a sudden we can start flipping our mindset knowing that we know the bullish scenario. But we've got to make sure we, you know, rid this bearish scenario, and we can't ignore it. But we can also take opportunity while being very tentative, you know, being very precise, but also being very understanding of what we need to do here. You know, everybody's got their own plan. Everybody's got their own plan. All the world stage in crypto. Hayes, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 1 month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Your first month along with Shane and G. Stott. 8 people in Tom's Army for their first month right now. I would love to see all 8 of you in your second month. I'll be watching with my photographic memory when it says you are or aren't. Let's see. The Stolfer dude, I'm seeing resistance at 303. Yep, that's not a bad micro resistance support line. It's just being in that level is still under the pattern. So it's a micro, but it's not the most influential part in this micro part of the pattern. But it is at a level to be watching, because that could send us back to $3 or worse if we can't hold. If we don't hold 303, you're right. We have no chance to even look at 306 in the micro. So you're not wrong. Frenchy Millions, welcome in. Bearded Viking, good evening and thanks for being, or good morning and thanks for being in Tom's Army for first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Bearded Viking says, good morning, Tom and Army. God bless every reader of this comment. I continuously have to check in to see. Make sure you join the Telegram, Bearded Viking. This is the most important thing. You're part of Tom's Army. I encourage you, so you don't have to continuously check in. You don't even have to talk on the Telegram, friend. But go to my post, join the Telegram. You're part of Tom's Army. And this is the most important thing. Go to the... I have a section here for content links. It always shows the content. So you get it, and it shows you. You can see it. The notification from Telegram you are in control of. So never miss another update, live and or short, which it always shows the shorts for some reason for the most part. But they're trying to push the shorts. So don't miss out on some of the stuff you can get. And that's just my own personal FYI. Big Dog, welcome in and thanks for being in town for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Nato Bell, good morning. Dennis Smith, good morning, and thanks for starting in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens along with Garbanzo. As that's my face superimposed on an emoji badge. Garbanzo, are you the one who broke your heel? There's so many people, my mind is, it's merged together. Somebody broke their heel. I don't want to say it's you, but you're in the doctor's office. Somebody was working on a tree house and it didn't go initially so well. They caught themselves with they broke their heel. IRAM, no voice. No voice? Oh, there's voice. You got to restart this. Somebody tell him to restart his stream, although it's been 17 minutes, so he's probably gone now. Or he's figured it out. Mike V, welcome in. Tadaz, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Says, hey, Tom, joined a little bit late. Never too late to join. And you've been around for so many years, you understand the flow already. Mike V, any update on what the SEC will announce? End of Ripple case? We've got time. There's just so many things that they put in here that it's going to take a little bit. The case is irrelevant. The price isn't moving up or down based on the case anymore. Because we've already got what we needed now. Could there be micro transactions? Sure. But they're already we already know for a fact that they're trading outside of the exchanges. And they got an amendment to allow them to do it. So that doesn't matter anymore. They've already got institutions that are trading at prices we are not. A lot less than we are paying. Oh yeah, we can do an Algorand update for sure. As we certainly can. With Algo, I think it's much like IOTA. It's still very much in a pattern consolidation. Right now, it's dangerous. I told you guys yesterday, it's the most dangerous time of any pattern for somebody new. Because they got to get the micro in check before they just jump into the macro for a long, long hold or a micro buy. Because right now, a micro buy, it could be in your favor right now. Rejected, though, on the 20-day. Still have this golden cross intact. But a rejection here, you just have to understand in your own head that if this doesn't pan out here and we do get a rejection, it technically should melt back down to support. Unless this is a micro hold. And now we finally are back testing this little pattern breakout here. This is just a micro support in a sense. But now we could start to, because the daily time frame put in that golden cross, we could technically start to build up. But we have to get some kind of validation. And right now, this is scary. It's above. It's definitely above, but we have to see how this plays out in the next couple of days. If it starts to break up and we overtake 25, 22, to me, that's a big level to overtake. That's a big level initially, and then ultimately getting over this 2660, then working your way back up and overtaking at some point 2930. That 2930 is your bullish setup. You get over 29.3 cents, you're very bullish on your way up to 55 if it plays out. And we came down from 34. We had a fake out over at 34. And then we came down about, well, we're still down a significant percentage when we peaked up last time. We're down 28%, but we ended up down about 33. So, still way, way down. But yeah, we need to get over, for this to break bullish, we need to be over about 29.6 cents. And we need to not get rejected here, because if we get rejected here, the whole market goes down 20%. It doesn't matter how good it looks now. If we get a rejection here, the whole market, just hear what I'm saying. If we get a rejection here, I'm not saying we are, we go down 20% on the good side, If we could break above this, there's at least a 10% move almost immediately. If we could get above these resistance zones we started out by talking about. Let's see. Trying to see if I missed anybody. Off the grid hero, what we thinking for XRP around October end of year prices? I don't like to do time frames, but you know, I don't know. Usually August and September ends up playing out to be the bearish 2 months, with September technically inching out as the worst month historically for crypto. So my best guess for October, it all depends what happens here. If we get a micro move up and it allows us to springboard into alt season before the first quarter of 26, we could be plus $4. But if we get a rejection here and we end up having to go back to those gap areas, the fair value gaps, we got 250 we could be looking at around October. You could be looking as low as $1.50 if it made that macro move back down. But I don't necessarily see that, you know, but we will see. That's why I don't know. It's hard to make a prediction based on, oh, it's going to be here in October. I think what you do is you look at the setups and then you make a conclusion based on if it gives you that validation or not. I don't like to look at it like that. I think you're just setting yourself up for failure if you say X, Y, and Z has to happen by X, Y, and Z. You know, I do. I really do. I think it always makes it feel bad if it doesn't hit on a certain date, even if you're right. So I just think look at the setup. Don't worry about what it's going to be on a certain day. We don't know. Nobody knows. And if they say they know, they're just an idiot. They're lying to you. Lonzo, I'm cash poor right now. I'm between jobs. Fortunately, days oh yeah, Lonzo. My friend, there's exceptions to the rule. You don't have to, for me, you don't have to preach your story, Lonzo. You've been in here for years. I know you've been in between jobs. If you want to be in the Telegram, all you have to do is one thing, my friend. For you. There's more than just you that this would apply to, but send me an email at strutregali@gmail.com. It's that simple. Lonzo, it's that simple, or get in touch with Defined if you guys are talking in the chat. That's it. You are definitely the exception to the rule. I know you're not a spammer, and you've been dedicated to this community for many, many years. So, exception to the rule. I'm not in it for that kind of money, the cheap money. I'm just trying to make sure that people don't take your hard-earned money because it's pissing me off. So I say cancel it after a month. For anybody, if you want to. But if you have the means, I appreciate the ones who do support me. I do. And support comes in many ways. It's not just monetary. The ones who hit the like button, the ones who share, the 45,000 people who are subscribers plus. The ones who go around and try to share it on social media. My Facebook page yesterday got 18,000 views. It outperformed my YouTube page by a lot. A lot. You know, it's amazing. My YouTube page gets the least amount of views between YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And it's got the worst pay scale when it comes to shorts and different things, you know. But it's the most innovative. It's how you get... I like YouTube. I don't care about the rest. YouTube at least allows me to be me. Because there's not 150,000 XRP... How many XRP future millionaires are there on YouTube? One. There might be a lot of people that try to spam my name with spliced accounts and comments. But there's only one actual YouTube account. They do a great job banning people. And because I do all original content, you see all of the streamers that are getting banned and they're losing out on their rights because all they do is splice together other people's shit. That's something you don't have to worry about in this community. Mine's all original content. I don't even rehearse shit. I just do it. I do the 60-second TA, and I've not thought about it. I just know where the price is at, and I know what the levels are, so I can just rehearse it. You know, it's the difference between being an amateur and a professional. The difference right now in trading, and think about this, incorporate it into your own self. The difference between being an amateur and a professional right now is an amateur, they may or may not be able to read a chart, but they haven't got their emotions in check. And or both. And that's why they're the amateur. They can't understand what's going on. They just see green or red and they get excited or they get, you know, they get distressed. A professional sees the chart. They've already got their numbers put out. They already know the exit strategy before they've ever made a move. They know the micro and macro out meets in the midterm. And then they make an educated and informed decision based on risk reward, not necessarily the micro trade. Because we all know the professionals know traders lose 98% of the time. Over time. because of factors we can't control. And so we try to control it in the best way we can. That's why we trade in spot. That's why we try to get out of the way of big drops so that we can make decisions on the drops. And then you start to encounter levels that you think are right. That you think are right. Brian Crow, thank you so much for joining Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. You just made me the happiest person in the world today. And the first person who's donated during this live, in a sense, between a YouTube super chat or a member of Tom's Army. That's incredibly generous. Incredibly generous. I am always humbled when people join and pay with their hard-earned money. And you are not an exception. That is truly humbling, my friend. I really appreciate it. And Lonzo, I hope to hear from you in my email or Define. It's highly, highly, highly recommended, the Telegram. Highly recommended. And by having more sanctions in there, it's allowed us to evolve it in a bigger way. Crypto adoption coming. Anyone believing in Satoshi is like an adult believing in Santa at Tooth Fairy. Yep. It's the same reason why I like XRP, because the World Economic Forum, the International Monetary Fund are big investors and probably the owners of it along with the U.S. government. So that's why I like XRP as well. I don't ever think it's going to get anywhere near where Bitcoin is by price, but I do think it will compete at some point by market cap. So just remember the differential there. I think it can compete by price. No. But by market cap, yes. There's just too many tokens. It's not meant to be $100,000 a token. That's the lie. I think it's meant to be priced somewhere between 25 and 100 personally. But what do I know? So I only make $250 to $1 million on 10,000 tokens, if that's what we're judging it by. Oh, no. John Booglethorpe, yes. And thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So Bad. Now it's showing it. Tom, volume isn't looking great on XP. Any sense of how strong this move up looks? Right now it looks pedestrian. It looks like a dead cat bounce, but there's no real way to tell. You know, because we are in such a strong moment in the alt season where it could possibly start. Sometimes the volume's the distraction. So, I don't know. Right now it doesn't look great. We're below areas I'd like it to be above to make it look better. Ethereum at least is above 3,558. But, you know, I'm not seeing exactly what I want to see. I'm seeing a little bit of a dispersion here from Bitcoin to Ethereum, which is nice. But we still have so many levels to break. Ethereum's still so far behind. It's got like a 15% move just to push back into where alt season needs to be figured out at. So we got a lot of space here. Craig Carlson, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor along with the Ricci. Good morning to you both. You're welcome, Lonzo. Bird, good morning. You give good info. Thank you so much for that, my friend. I'm glad you enjoy it. I really do. I try to give the real information. I don't mind if it gives an emotional response within myself or somebody else, because that's up to us to control. But we got to know the truth of the patterns. And right now, the truth is we're in no man's land, because it could either be at a bearish rejection zone, or we could be starting the first leg after that drop of a signal to a further move up that will eventually start alt season. It's a tricky situation here. All the world stages followed me on Facebook. Thank you so much. Yeah, Facebook's, I don't have it on here, but Facebook's been going insane. It's almost at 6,000 followers now. And all I do, I don't put any original content on there. Well, it's my own original content, but I just share my stuff from YouTube, just like on TikTok. I haven't done anything specific to those things in a while. Well, TikTok is why I do my 60-second short. That was for TikTok, and then I incorporated it into Facebook and YouTube, and that's helped. But Facebook, I'm going to end up using my touchscreen and start doing live my touchscreen tablet and recording from my tablet, but it's not going to have a screen record. That's the difference for Facebook. That's going to be the uniqueness of the content when I start doing it. And I'm actually wanting to do it now. And my son starts school in September for full days. So I'm going to have a lot of time to kill during the day in comparison. I'll go to the gym. I'll do my stuff outside I need to do, yada, yada, yada. But I'm going to end up doing a lot of dedication to Facebook, too, outside of my lives to YouTube. So there's a reason to join, and it's going to be on my touchscreen. So it's going to be a different way of looking at the charts, not on the screencast that you see on YouTube. So I'm very happy. I got a lot of innovation coming. And I've hooked a big audience now on Facebook. It's just they were not allowing me to make monetization on there, nor were they recommending my channel for over a year because they said that I broke a rule that wasn't even a rule. And then it still says they're waiting, it's pending a review. And it's been like 16 months, but they finally said my channel was fine again. They highly recommend it. Monetization, yada, yada, yada. And I've got 5 paid members of Tom's Army on Facebook. And I'm stunned because I've never talked about the subscription thing on Facebook. I actually forgot about it. But I got picked up 3 in the last couple weeks, and it's amazing. Just to see how it transfers over to Facebook even. That's crazy. So I want to dedicate more to Facebook. After all, 5 people paying as a paid member, they got to get some lives. I got to talk directly. Even if I only got 10 people in there in the live, I'll build it up to what you see here, if not more. Do I have Facebook on here? I don't think so. Oh, I'll be God. I guess I do. Oh, that's my personal one. Hold on, let's see. I'll be damned. I didn't know I had it on here. Set up on my computer. Oh, maybe this is actually on the website. But yeah, it's been nice. But on, where's this at? Why'd it go back to my other one? But yeah, I got a ton of views yesterday. 18,639 yesterday. Insane. My page is still at risk, but at least they're promoting it now. But yeah, I made $35 in the last month. Isn't that? It's crazy. But the views, it's 218,000 views in the last 28 days. It's a lot of views. It didn't beat my YouTube views in the last 30 days, but in the last couple of days, it's exploding. But interesting, let's say the least, that the information's going around. Let's see. It's all on a losing. Thank you so much for 6 months plus with the XRP Predictor. Disbelief rally incoming green August with a topping wick. I could see that. I could see a disbelief rally coming in to kind of test the higher levels we were already at. I could still see that too. Really could. Frankie Fresh, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Yes, it's a good time, but you know I got to get going here. It's the morning. My son's finishing up his feeding from Julie, and I want to be present at the end because he might go outside and stuff. But we'll be back tonight. I've already done 2 shorts. You guys can catch up on. We've done this live. Make sure to follow me on Facebook. TikTok, I don't necessarily care, but follow me on Facebook because that's going to be the next innovative part for me. I've got almost 26,000 followers on TikTok, but I don't like the platform at all. It limits my voice too much. At least Facebook allows me to talk a little bit. TikTok doesn't. I've had so many videos taken down and blah, blah, blah. And every time I've had 100,000 video. I've had videos with 250,000 views on TikTok. But I'm very heavily suppressed. I do get decent views on TikTok. I'm not saying I don't. But I don't like the way that their algorithm is. And they allow too many people to spam my content. So I'm not going to dedicate to a platform that allows 787,000 XRP future millionaires. And then they banned me for 3 days when I reported these fake accounts and said I was the fake account. Yeah, and then they had to restore me because they apologized and said, oops, our mistake, our AI got it wrong. But then they allow these other crooks to still steal my image. So, but yeah, have a blessed day, everybody. I encourage you to join Tom's Army. If you're looking to trade, I really highly encourage BITUNIX, lowest spot and leverage trading fees. I talk about it not because they pay me, but because I actually use it. You know, so, and all the stuff you see I use. BLOFIN, not so much, but you can still buy certain things on there. Albanks for XRP Healthcare and DGB and such. And then if you want to donate, but you don't want to do it through YouTube on Super Chats, which we didn't get any today, but I don't expect it every day or any days. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. And then the Crypto Visa debit card, I like crypto.com. And then they also have the crypto debit card, or debit and credit card. And you can pay right with your crypto, which is the next innovation in digital. So